so if you've never heard this before, two energies, the high vibrational energies, the low vibration energies. The high vibration energies want us to feel good, want us to do good, want all the goodness for us. The low vibration energies want to block that. They want to take us out of our goodness, out of our happiness, out of our joy, and bring us into anxiety, worry, stress, doubt, fear, lack, limitations, chaos, disruption, etc. Right? So you notice in relationships, notice the pattern. You start in high vibrational energy, right? Everybody's on their best behavior. You're so loving, you're so kind. Doesn't matter what they do, you love them anyway. And as that drug wears off, then whatever vibration, high or low, that you're bringing to the relationship is going to interact with their operating system. And then after a while, in the first 90 days, you do anything for them. It's unconditional love. When that drug wears off, you won't even pick up their sock, right? Or you won't even, do the dishes in the sink. Hey, you didn't do your dishes. Hey, you left the sock on the ground. And whoa, it's a different vibe, isn't it? It's a different vibe. Now, when we get fed, when we get our needs met, we're happy and we want more. When we don't get our needs met, then we go into one of two places. We either, lay it down and say, hey, I'm not getting my needs met here, and I think we should talk about it because I think this is a two-way street. Or what a lot of people do is they just suffer in silence. And Barry told me a lot about that. He said, so what happened, going back to Barry, got in this relationship. It was great for the first 4 months. Then, as he told me, she exhibited different behaviors. He never saw her get mad, and she would start getting mad more and start yelling more and start being more demanding and stay out late and not tell where she was going. And all of a sudden, the energy shifted from this beautiful relationship where you think you could count on the person, dependability, loyalty. All of a sudden, it's chaotic now. All of a sudden, it's upended. You don't know where you're coming or going. And then when she'd get mad, she'd blow her top, just like his mother used to blow her top at him. And what he did with his mom is he just took it. He just took it and ignored it. Because what can you do when you're a kid when your mom's yelling at you? You can't leave the house if you're 8 years old. So what? You got to deal with it. And especially if there's a substance abuse problem, right? So started yelling more and more and more and more. And then, she'd leave the house in the middle of the night or leave the house for 15, 20 minutes, come back. And sometimes he wouldn't know where she was, et cetera. And then, she revealed to him, look, I like to smoke pot. And that's where I go. I go out, sometimes go out with my pot friends. We get stoned and hang out for a couple hours. Okay. She said, you have a problem with that? He says, well, no, if it doesn't get in the way. I mean, if it's not an addiction. She goes, no, I can handle it. Okay. So this thing kept going on. And one time he came home and there was like 4 or 5 people and they're all having a pot party there. And, she was stoned out of her mind and, didn't know how to handle it. And then when she came and he found out that when she'd start coming off of that strong pot, she'd be in a bad mood and start yelling at him. And he used to see the pattern. Oh, okay, I see how this works. She's happy for a couple of days. She goes and, smokes pot with her friends or, goes into a bender, an all day thing and comes home, sleeps it off. Next day, she's miserable to be with, and cranky and abusive for a few days. And then the cycle starts. And what I noticed and what he noticed is that he handles the situation just like his father did. Okay. And this is an important point to get in this class today. I hope this rings your bell. Where are my bells? Don't have them. And that is, we can only respond in a relationship situation to what we were exposed to as kids. So, we watched the mother and father dynamic, or the relationship with mom and dad, based on what they did, was what we thought reality was. So, if your reality is, your parents are loving and careful and kind every day, that's going to be your reality, and that's going to move into your operating system as you go out into the world. But if your operating system is, every Saturday night, dad has to get drunk, and then mom starts yelling, and they're yelling and screaming, and somebody calls the cops, or somebody has, gets thrown out, or somebody storms out. If that's your world, that's what you're used to. And not only is it what you're used to, listen to this, wait for it, it's what you'll create in your life, in your relationships. You'll create the same situation you watch mom and dad do in your relationships. Now, I heard this 20 years ago. I heard this because I did a lot of personal development seminars and training and stuff. They said, oh yeah, you recreate your parents' marriage in your relationships. I said, that will never happen to me. I said, I'm so different from my dad. My dad would take it, when my mom would be yelling at me, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to stand up for myself. But even I was in relationships where there would be an interaction, and it would occur to me, wow, that's exactly how my father would deal with this. Or I did exactly what dad did. And, talking about Barry, it was the same thing with him. When a child's growing up with a parent who's in addiction or substance abuse, it's very traumatic, and it's very stressful, and it's messed up. Okay, I'll use that word. It's messed up because as children, we need our parents. We need that mother energy. We need that father energy to be able to grow up as a whole human being, to be able to know what the female dynamic is and the male dynamic is. And if you don't know it, or if one of those dynamics is dysfunctional, it's going to have an effect on you. So the way it's having an effect on Barry and countless other men is that, oh, mom was dysfunctional, I guess women are dysfunctional. That's the belief that maybe an 8-year-old kid has. Oh, this is what women do. They get married and they have kids, and they're nice to their kids for a few years, and then they start drinking and hide up in their rooms and don't come out. And when they do, there's hell to pay. Okay. Because that's what you've observed. It's just, I hate to say garbage in, garbage out, but information in, information out. So what happened is so he's dating this gal, and here's the thing about relationships. There's always something that pulls you in. There's always something to try to lure you. Because if most people saw what they were going to get in their relationships 5, 10, 15 years down the road, they wouldn't do it. I know there's some people listening to this call here that I know that, the relationship started great, and 10, 15 years into it, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I signed up for. How did it get this way? How did it get this way? Isn't that what so many people say? How did I get here? I'm trapped in this relationship with this person I don't even recognize. And it's somebody that, was so much different from what I got into this for. This is the illustration of the point that there are always two or more things happening. So in Barry's case, what was happening in the physical world was he's looking for love. He's looking for companionship, right? Like all the rest of us. But what he didn't recognize is in the energy field that he was carrying, based upon what he saw, what he knew about women was based upon the most important woman in his life. The most important woman in his life was his mother. And that's all he knew. And that's where he derived his maternal love. And all of us, it's so important for us to get both. But if that gets cut off, or that gets taken away from us in childhood, then that's a trauma. That's an upsetting emotion. That's something that has an effect on us. And there's a gaping hole, an energetic leak, so to speak, when you want to get love from your mother, but it's not there, or love from your father, and it's not there. So what do? We go out in the world and we try to fill that need. Okay, you with me? You try to fill that need. Okay, I didn't get the love I needed. I'd like to have a woman to hold me and love me and care for me, just like my mom did. Or if you're a woman, you'd like to have a protector and a strong man, guarding you and watching out for you like your dad. But if you didn't have a mom or you didn't have a dad who did those things, then you got to fend for yourself. And then somehow you have to make sense of all the things that you're not getting. And then you move out into the world and you don't recognize it, but there's a part of you that's going, looking for love. And the body says, what's the frequency? Well, the only frequency I know is what mom was like. So I guess I'm looking for one like mom. Or like dad, like that. So you're basically out there looking. You don't know it, but energetically, you're out there looking for the very same thing that hurt you or denied you what it is that you wanted. And you pick someone, that's what happened with Barry, pick someone that was exactly like his mother. She didn't look like his mother. She didn't act like his mother, in her personality or mannerisms. But the end result, the energetic result was, it was the same feeling. It was the same vibe he got from being with his mom. So he stayed in this relationship. I think he was in it for 3 years. And it was weird because every time I'd see him, his energy would be constricted, silent, just withheld. Imagine somebody who's is lively and always fun to be with, being like this when he's with his relationship. How you doing, Barrett? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah. How you doing, Kathy? Great. Kathy's fine. Kathy's his girlfriend. Barry's like, yeah, fine. And you look at him and you get him like, oh, dude, what's happening to you? He goes, I says, how are you and Kathy getting along? He says, well, ups and downs, but I think. And I said, you don't seem to be happy. Well, and I said, why do you stay? And he said, well, when we were first together, the passion was so good that I never had anything like that before. And she knew what to say. She knew what to do. It made me feel so good. And over time, that kind of went away. We were doing it practically every night. Now, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. But when we do it, it's great. I said, yeah, but once a month, that means that the other 99% is you dealing with, the challenges you had, the substance abuse, or you found out that she was bipolar too. And again, it's not women or men. It could be a man. The same situation could be with a man too. But this is my friend that I knew. And he went through, so I go, how are you dealing with it? He goes, Glenn, sometimes I just want to shoot myself. I'm so unhappy. But then I said, if you're having those kind of thoughts, then, you need to take some action here. And I went and helped him and found out that there was a codependent energy there. And that's one of the biggest things that we face in relationships is codependency, right? Because and where does it come from? It's your body trying to get you codependent, trying to bond you with this person as close as it can for as long as it can, so you'll procreate and have kids. The body doesn't care if you're happy. The body doesn't care if this is something that's bringing you joy. The body doesn't care if it's high vibration or low vibration. It just wants what it wants. Meanwhile, you're being used by these energies that have their own agenda, of which your long-lasting happiness isn't part of it. Hello? So, I had this discussion with Barry, and he says, are you telling me that there's an influence that's keeping me in this relationship? I go, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, what's your happiness? I said, how much of the time would you say you're happy in this relationship? He'd say, 10%. 10% of we have a good time. I said, okay, so it's 90% you're not. 90% it's a grind, it's a struggle, it's work, he goes, yeah, he goes, but my father put up with my mother. They were married 55 years and they were still married when when she passed away. And that's what I'm taught to do. And I said, that's the decision that you made when you were younger, when you were in the grips of your parents' influence. I say, you're a grown man, you're no longer a child, and you can see the dysfunction of your parents' relationship. Now, I'm here to tell you, you automatically take that on. Automatically. It's automatic.